that Musyoka has gotten married na nasikia ni kama ameoa bibi mkali sana, she's a tough woman. Manza alitushika vita bana. I was with my uncle. My uncle was almost 5 years older than me. Na sisi na kapunda ketu.
You and your uncle are beaten.
Manze.
Hey guys, karibu sana to Flick on the Move podcast.
Karibu sana.
Yeah, I'm still Peter. Sijabadilika.
Jina yangu ni Alex.
And today we have one brother on board. Kwa majina ni nani bana?
Mimi naitwa Jatelo Gorbachev Osembo.
All right. I think today's episode tutaita mambo ni matatu.
Wanaume ni watatu.
Wanaume ni watatu.
Wachia for your story.
Utasafirishwa.
Machana nayo. By the way, Brayo, ile mlango tunaweza funga. Usijali. Yeah, but guys, it's good to be back with the second episode as we're trying to take this journey of having meaningful conversations. And so far so good. The first time Aleki ulichoma bana mic
manze learning on the job
bana. Ndio kuna point za maana.
Manze
point za maana lakini zilikuwa off mic.
Kwa nini anakuanga na
kibiri? You know those things people say in your off mic. Lakini wewe kila kitu liko off mic. Off mic.
Manze leo nitatia bidii, nitatia fora.
Awesome. That's great, and we're definitely looking forward to what you will be telling us, which is on mic. Off mic. But now, hii wiki bana imekuaje? How's this week been for you guys?
It's been a great week. Naweza sema tumejua mambo ni matatu. Sasa tuongeji ya baba mwana, baba roho. Sasa tunasema mambo ni matatu. But anyway, I think for me the highlight is that this week what happened? We were told to make noise.
Make noise.
I don't understand why we are making noise, but
make noise, man.
Someone is saying we should make noise, but I don't understand why you should make noise.
Why should we
make noise?
Well, he was, of course.
Please.
No, please make noise.
Yeah, please. Okay, for this, President Ali Bongo.
You see a francophone saying make noise, he's not even speaking in French. Make noise.
He was telling his friends, whoever, make noise. That is, just make so much noise that there is attention to what is happening in his country, and maybe help will come his way.
By making noise.
It doesn't look like.
Help is on the way.
It doesn't look like, but it's crazy what has been happening in West Africa, man.
Wow. I think that's something else. But if you talk about West Africa, I can imagine that country, it's been ruled by, I think, one family.
Yeah.
Since independence. It was his dad up to 2009, and now he took over in 2009 up to now. He's also been the president. It's a country of about 2.3 million people. But if you look at the poverty rates,
GDPs per capita.
Yeah, but if you look at the poverty rates in that country, it's something else, honestly.
It's extreme, huh?
It's extreme poverty. People live in extreme poverty, while the leadership lives in opulence. It's called opulence.
Pure opulence.
I don't know whether in French they call it opulent.
Let me say it in Lu.
Opulence.
Yeah.
I even saw a footage where there was stacks of money.
Yeah, I did. In bags, man.
Yeah, in bags, huh? A lot of money.
So I can imagine why have people not been making noise over these years over that situation, but all of a sudden now we're being told to make noise.
Let me tell you,
right? But some people have tried to make noise, which is guys have made some serious Afrobeat tunes with that particular.
Are you serious?
Noise. Yeah, make noise.
Make noise.
Kenyans, huh?
No, I don't know.
I don't think it's Kenyans. I think it's all over. It's been trending. Yeah,
and it has a really good vibe to it. That's the noise guys have made so far. But it looks like. When this coup d'etats are happening in West Africa, it looks like the population seem to be
becoming more aware.
At the moment, okay with it. We don't know what lies ahead, but at the moment they seem to be celebrating whatever is happening in those countries.
Did you see something? There's a photo I saw online. I think, are they the generals or the military? The whatever. When they took over when when they took over the government and then they were giving their speech.
Yeah.
Then there was someone who was wearing a Cheers Baba. I could imagine where the guy had come from.
I saw guy hapo hivyo.
Hey, manze,
It was in Gabon.
yeah.
The guy towards the left. Ameva Cheers Baba.
Manze, they said that guy was straight out of the
So
party.
you guys, my guy, we have chukwad this
We've
thing.
chukwad this thing, man.
And you know what was happening? Somebody was saying when you only have one job, umepatiwa kazi moja na wewe unakuja na Cheers Baba.
You can imagine.
That was the life of the party. We have nyakuad this thing.
We have this thing, man.
Yeah. We tandikar that gava, man. Now.
Mazachana wasiwa Cheers Baba. You know I'm a great fan.
Hey, Cheers Baba.
Yeah, so wachana sisi.
Okay,
You guy,
that's
my
all
guy.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, your jacket is quite interesting.
You they finya that guy bana.
I can imagine, bana. Huh?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things are happening around us, and you can imagine. You mentioned that his Ali Bongo's dad was the president,
Yeah.
and so if you're talking about taking a journey back in memory lane.
1960s. I'm talking about, I think, somewhere around 1969.
Yeah, so like guys
68.
have seen different periods, different transitions.
Oh, let's start. I don't know whether it's baby boomers.
Uh-huh.
Then we've gone to which one? What after baby boomers? What did we have?
Was it generation? Was it X? Which one was it?
No, I think there were. Was it X? Then we went to millennials. Where are we now? We are in Gen Z.
Yeah.
Gen Z our joke.
Now watu wote hawajaiona president mwingine.
Yeah.
You can imagine there's a guy who was born in 1969. He has always seen bongos. He thinks bongo is president means bongo. When you say bongo, you mean president.
Yeah.
So you can imagine all that.
There are times I believe people thought rice was something that was accorded to Moi.
Or you saying Rice Moi was, even after that, would have another Rice Moi.
Because he's the only one that, you know, what shocked me the other day was, not even just the other day, but a while back, we were doing a production for some young kids.
Yeah.
And what impressed me about that time was that these kids don't even know Moi's presidency. They have never tasted Moi's presidency. Some of them have never tasted Kibaki's presidency. Bro, hapo ndo unajua umeanza kuzeeka.
Manze, acha hiyo story wachana nayo bana.
Hapo ndo unajua umeanza kuzeeka bro.
Wacha kutupatia pressure.
Hapo ndo unajua age.
Wacha kutupatia pressure.
It's
Manze.
catching up with you, man. They just know Uhuru Kenyatta.
Na kuna wale sahi wanajua tu nani?
They just know William Ruto. But they're too young.
They're too young.
Yeah, but it shows you the transitions of times.
Yeah.
And which brings me to part of today's discussion as we talk about growing up in Kenya.
Yeah.
Because I believe everyone has some amazing experiences in your upbringing. But what was it like for you growing up? And specifically, talk about if you have any recollections of the 80s or the early 90s.
Wow. You take me back the memory.
Hapo nimeassume amjazaliwa 70s, so
okay, wachana na sisi. Tusiingie hapo sana.
Uzima yo mic yake kwanza.
I think for me growing up is that first during my younger years I grew up in shags, right? And later on because my dad is and is still a civil servant, so he was moving around the country. So I've managed to interact with many cultures, right? And I think for me that has been a blessing.
So when in Nairobi by bus, not by birth.
Okay, I'm not Nairobi by birth. I'm Nakuru by birth.
I say Nairobi by bus. It's either by bus.
But you see,
by bus or by birth.
Like unategemea, unajua kuna watu wana meno wangesema bado birth. So it depends on which birth.
Nairobi by bus.
Nairobi by birth. Nairobi by birth. Nairobi by birth.
Ulikuja na basi buda.
No, but unajua hiyo utachanga mtu, kuna watu wana meno bana. Boss chunga usichome sana. Bado ulikuwa birth ni birth.
So ilikuwa bundus to shags.
Yeah, the shags. And then for me I think growing up is that I thought the things were a little bit greener. Yeah, it used to be greener. We used to have the frogs croaking.
Yeah.
From at the rivers. We used to look forward to the rains.
Yeah.
I think it was something else. And I look back and I find that it's a little bit, considering that I also come from the lower eastern Kenya, I think it's become more semi-arid. It's become hotter. It's become drier.
Yeah.
And looking back, I think it was greener on those days.
It was greener.
And I remember we used to go to school and then the teacher used to tell us to bring clay, especially when it's raining. And it used to be fun. You go to the riverbed and you collect clay. Then you come and do the modeling.
Yeah.
You know, those were our toys,
Those
bana.
days we used to have clay and plasticine.
manze, what is that? Us, we used to play with clay.
Yeah.
Dude.
Bro, kulikuwa na
That guy
plasticine
is
pia hiyo
up
time.
Plasticine manze tulianza kuwa na class 5-6. We used to, si tulikuwa nacheza na yumba. There's
Clay.
something we call yumba in our community.
All right.
Yeah.
acha kujiexpose. Acha kujiexpose.
Okay.
Asi kujiexpose.
Ul-
Unajua I'm
ulikuwa
grateful
deal
for where
na
I'm coming from and where I'm going.
No, that's actually that stands out for me, and I will tie into that because yes, you actually feel like it was more green. There were certain things that we take for granted now. We can't experience that joy anymore. You know, like the rivers that we used to. There used to be rivers, and people would go and play by the river. You know, sai kuna vile hizo rivers hazionekani tena. You know?
I remember when we were young, when I was about 6-7,
Yeah.
we used to see antelopes come into our own compound.
Yeah.
Antelopes, deers, what else? Dick-dicks. You know what's a dick-dick?
Yeah, you know the dick.
Like a small one.
Like a small one, yeah.
Yeah, we used to see them a lot in our farm. It's my grandpa's. Of course, he had a chunk of land. I thought it was big at that time.
Yeah.
Because I think I was small and my eyes were small. But I'm realizing it's not as big as I thought.
Okay.
But I think we used to see dick-dicks. We used to see antelopes, deers. We could
And
see
you
all
guys-
sorts of animals.
You guys had nature.
Manze, we had
Yeah.
nature, bana. Imagine seeing an antelope outside your house.
I mean, those are really.
It was fun, man.
There's such nice memories. I don't know for you, Gob, 0 times quite close to the lake, bro.
Well, we didn't have access to dick na antelopes. But
Yeah.
fish.
You played with toy fish.
Fish, eh?
Fish. Maze.
Hizo ndio zilikuwa toys.
It was amazing because there's this river tulikuwa tunaenda kuswim. Inaitwa River Molem huko Kisumu. Na place huko unaenda una dive kwanza. Let me be careful of my words. In your Sunday best.
Yani nada uzo nasema ulikuwa na dive ndeve.
Ndethe baya sana. Kwa mnaruka mnaenda. The place was a bit far. Ilikuwa sort of semi-arid hivi. But
Yeah.
would go there. Like all the boys in the community mmekuja hapo, whether you're 18, 15, 10, but would go, tumebeba miwa sayo mnaenda initiation, yani nyinyi ndo wanaume sasa. Would go that place, tumebeba ma swimming costumes, would dive, would enjoy sun, would be on the sand, una sandbath kidogo, unajibamba yani. So hiyo unity right now, if I look at that community of guys,
Yeah.
yani hata by the time tufanye one more trip huko, it's totally different. You don't have access to them. They've grown. People have responsibilities. Yes, they remember, but they're like, adulting has to happen.
And is the river still there?
It's not there.
It's dried up.
It's dried up.
Oh, man.
In fact, right now, roads have passed even there. Infrastructures, buildings are coming up. The last time I was there, I was like, is this River Moldem? I wasn't even nikasema but I was grateful for having that
experience.
moment.
That experience is
you know.
really memorable. It's interesting, even as we share this, because I was watching the footage of Nairobi in the 60s. I don't know if there's a certain channel, I think it's on Instagram, they call it History KE, and also on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's some guys who have that.
But
And I saw the footage, man. Like, I saw the CBD. And there are only a few landmarks that you could actually remember, like Koja Mosque. There was it Kencom that was still there?
there's
those
Kencom,
days?
there's Stanbic Bank.
Yeah, as in there's some major buildings. But when I saw that, Nairobi, bro, was clean. And then there were a lot of foreigners. If I don't know if foreigners is a good term to use, but there were a lot of white people, like in the CBD. And I mean, those days, it's like it looked more like it was like a British kind of city back in those days. I don't know if you've ever watched that footage.
Yeah, I think I've watched it. Where you find that the city is like about it's more of a blended population.
Yeah.
You can see white people walking in town. You can see the black people, very decent people walking in town.
Suti ilikuwa muhimu,
Yeah,
bro.
unajua bado tulikuwa Britons, eh?
Yeah. We still
We
had
were
that
still
kind
Britons,
of
yeah.
culture.
Yeah, but over time we've come up with the Kenyan culture.
Cheers,
Our
my
own
guy.
culture.
Yeah,
Our own
But-
culture, man.
yeah,
We found ourselves. which is good though.
Which is good, yeah.
And then you remember there was one thing that was very interesting about those days. There used to be these UK taxis. They were very... Yani those things were luxury.
Kwanza I saw one this week bana in Macha. Even I remember the registration. I saw one this week on Thursday in Macha. It's a KAV 264U. Manze, I looked at it for about 10 minutes. I was just looking at it bana. It's a black one.
Like a nostalgia.
Manze, it's like a black one. Very nice. Zile milango inafunguka. Unajua milango ikuwa inafunguka hivi. Ilikuwa inafunguka opposite. Unazikumbuka? Najua kuna generation ije hiyo na hizo taxi style. By the initially they were by Kenatco. You know Kenatco was a parastatal at some point. Are you aware? Kenya National Taxi Corporation. Yeah, then it was bought out. Then now it became a private company. Yeah. You know, but Kenatco was a parastatal. Was a parastatal initially. It was started by the government. Initially in the government in the 1960s and 70s was trying to trigger investments. So it had formed a lot of investments. That's why you had the National Oil, which is a corporation. We had the Kenya Bus those days. Most of the infrastructure was done by the government. We had the Kenya hotels, something. Like I think the biggest hotel in Kisumu those days, it was owned by the government. Imperial was owned by the government. Nyali Beach Hotel was owned by the government. What else? A few investments were owned by the government because it was trying to like
KCB Bank.
Bank. But now those things have been privatized. So yeah, things have changed, bro.
Kuna best yangu fulani anaitwa Mato alikuwa ananiambia tizo days ukipanda train ya kutoka Nairobi hadi Kisumu atoswa alikuwa anaingia na jiko anapika chapo usiku akina na train. Anaingia that is so hebu niambie hiyo story nilisikia sikuamini.
Mazena watu wa Githeri wanachemshia wapi pale hivi?
Ni kweli hiyo story ambayo msali kwa anipanga.
Hiyo story ni kweli. Na pia home kwetu, you know us we come from an island. Right? So kuna feri fulani ilikuwa inachukua watu Kisumu, inatoka Sunday inafika hiyo Sunday ingine. Watu walikuwa naingia huko mpaka wanapika.
What do you mean from Kisumu to the island wiki moja?
Ilikuwa inaendaga in stages, inaenda ina rest pahali hapo mnaenda mnapika.
Kwa hivyo ilikuwa cruise ship.
We buda ilikuwa experience.
Ilikuwa cruise ship.
So from Kisumu inapita different islands before ifike Mfangano.
Inapita alafu kuna different stages. So haziwezi enda because of now the wind that comes now in between as well. So ilikuwa ina challenge. Kulikuwa na tides pia hiyo time. So I used to remember mzaya akitoka na masufuria mapans naona tu wamezinini sana uliza hizi nza nini ati tunaenda kupika huko na joy
naenda ushago
unaambiwa anaenda ushago but wanarudi after 2-3 weeks.
Ay manze,
are you serious?
Yes.
And squeeze it's a one day
now it's 2 hours 45 minutes.
It was 1 week getting to the island from Kisumu.
Yes.
Na wasoko wanabeba jiko wanapika
samaki
mnapika machapo hapo ndani
unapika hapo alafu mnakula community sasa.
Manze kulikuwa community I think where the sense of community go?
I don't know man.
Manze, what has happened?
The sense of community was really I mean some of the best memories we have even in that particular period growing up was zile times zenye ikifika ni December ni kutravel shags.
Manze ushago bana.
Kwenda ushago we. Na kwanza tulikuwa tunatoka Kericho. We used to live in Dad was working in Kericho. So tulikuwa tunatoka Kericho. Tuna drive mpaka sasa Ukambani. So alikuwa na do hivi alikuwa na Peugeot 504.
Old money.
Simba baba. Old money gani buda? Old money gani? Hizo days ndo kulikuwa pia na zile mapujo kwa zitonga wepesi. Unakumbuka wepesi?
Wepesi zile zilikuwa inaga Kisumu.
Wepesi.
Na zilikuwa zinaenda mpaka Meru. Mother comes from there.
Zilikuwa ile G44 ama nini
ilikuwa 505
station wagon
505 zilikuwa ma 505 alafu zilikuwa na tumacho tu bigi manze.
Pesi bro. So fadhali kwa chukua yeye alikuwa na 504 alafu tulikuwa na Datsun pickup. So hiyo Datsun ndio ana dere fulani sasa yeye anabeba. Sasa hapo hivyo nyuma kwa hiyo Datsun tumejaza
stash.
Tumeka mustache buda yani kila kitu tunapeleka ushago. Tumejaza hapo hivyo sasa ni kutoka sasa yeye anafuatana tu na buda hivi. Ndio tukifika pale kwa hii bridge fadhali analipa yake na analipa ya umse. Hivyo teke mpaka Ukambani. Sasa kuna day fulani tumetoka tumekuja pale kwa highway hapo Naivasha. Hiyo days hakuko na vitu kwa Naivasha, tukakutana na walami bro, wazungu. A group of foreigners wamekama hapo kwa barabara wametusimamisha. tukasimama. So my dad was asking them what's going on. So ameibiwa gari. Walikuwa wanaenda pale Lake Naivasha, wameacha gari kando, wanacheza hapo kando ya maji, gari yao ikaibiwa, kaachwa hapo hivyo, wakakuwa stranded.
Na imagine nako kuanga kutrack magari siku hizo.
So tulichukua wazungu tukaeka kwa pickup.
Huko nyuma.
Tukawarudisha mpaka Nakuru. Jua hiyo day hata sijui kama Naivasha police station ilikuwa functional in capacity, so tuliwapeleka mpaka Nakuru. Those days bana.
Goodness.
Manze mimi niko na experience. Sisi unajua hatuko old money. So I remember my parents say, I've told you my dad was a civil servant. So I remember there's a time we were going to visit my dad somewhere in Kisii. Can you imagine that journey used to take 24 hours?
24 hours from?
Yes, from Shags to by the time you get to where my dad is working. So manze kuna siku moja manze unajua it's a very manze the first time we went manze ushaikuanga excited manze tumetoka Ushago, umekula chapo usiku, umeamka umekuja Nairobi, kwanza mkingoja mboard gari manze umekula chipo manze, my first time kula chipo manze, tumbo linipikia manze by the time manze nafika Nyanza my friend.
Wait, when is the first time to eat fries?
I think that's it's not, I don't think it's my first time, but I think sayo nilikula chipo nikiwa mtu akona nini
chipo mwitu
azikuwa mwitu manze, zilikuwa chipo poa, but sasa I think body yangu juu sasa ya kuchanga manze kijana umekuwa kula githeri.
Kulikuwa ile hoteli ilikuwa Nakuru, ilikuwa Tongani Tas Hotel ama ni gani, kulikuwa hoteli fulani hapo Nakuru, karibu kila basi kitravel kwa nasimama hapo hivyo manze,
siwezi kumbuka. But sasa unajua sasa tumeenda manze mimi kwa barabara niliteseka my friend. Manze ile uzuri tulikuwa na dereva, tulikuwa tumepanda bu, but I think your dereva alikuwa na understand huyo kijana na safa. Manze by the time nafika kwenye tulikuwa unaenda hata siko na excitement. Manze ilikuwa na korogea. Unajua ile nini unakorogewa ndio urudishe nini balance kwa mwili. At least juu venye ume-drive manze umekuwa overdrive.
Lakini
but I can remember.
Bro hizi ni shida umekuwa nazo.
Wewe wacha wala. Wewe wacha kajagia chali. Kajagia. Boss.
Undote nimeona amereact na chipo.
Nimewacha.
First time in my life.
Wewe wacha manze. Lenga hiyo story.
Ana react na chipo bana.
Acha kuchoma boss. Baada kuchoma mimi naenda. Kuchoma naenda.
Okay sawa.
Kuchoma na siwama ni. I'll walk out. Na siwatishi. I'll walk out.
My guy, just the other day.
Lenga manze. Lenga bana, we are people, we are reputable people. We are respectable people in society bana. Tali mimi naongea jini kwa mtoi.
Okay.
Tulikuwa napiga stories za watoi.
All right.
Wacha unasenge tembea haraka.
So those then some of the interesting things you know those memories ulikuwa first of all Shags kulikuwa na watu wa Nairobi na watu wa Ushago, unajua sasa
manze kwanza kuna watu wanakuja wanaongea tu Kiswahili pekee yake, kuna shida hii utiaji, lakini story utiaji ilianza kitambo.
I used to have a cousin was alikuwa anaishi Nairobi West, manze alikuwa anakaa tu, alikuwa anakaa babi bro anakamna kale ka side huyo siku hizi hizo bags zimerudi, alikuwa anakaa bag hivi.
So anyway,
we used to one of the things that we used to enjoy is those days when we used to go to Shags, we had to go and fetch water.
Rive ilikuwa lazima.
Mlikuwa mnaenda na zile cats na ziko na ng'ombe inavuta.
Kwani nyinyi mko na punda? Sisi tulikuwa tumeomoka, tulikuwa na punda bana. Na ziko bado by the way.
Bado ziko. So tulikuwa tunaenda na hizo hizo mang'ombe, mnaenda pale kuchota maji kwa well. Alafu mnajaza maji sasa mnarudi na hizo vitu. So the experience was running, climbing that thing and then racing and then man, those are memories bro. Yani crazy.
But it was fun, eh?
Yeah.
Kwanza I remember there's a day manze we went to the river, you know, because of the there in where I come from. Once it rains maji huenda inaisha kwa mto. So to do watu kuja wanachimba visima. And who is huko Ushago, yeye uchimba na ana fence. Kwa river bed.
Yeah.
So kuna siku moja manze tulikuwa tumetumwa kwa river manze hakuna maji. Tukaenda tukafungua nini ya msee. Manze wacha wife yake akuje. Manze tulishikwa fire. For me that nakumbuka ngeo experience. Mama alikuja akatutishia. Kulikuwa rumor in the village yo jamaa amemari. Na amemari mama wife mzee. So this was our first encounter there.
To meet the wife.
The rumors that the rumors that ni asi nani ameoa kwanza alikuwa anitangwa nani? Itangwa Musioka ama nani? Alikuwa anitangwa Musioka. So they would say that Musioka no na atwani. Ni watu yeye kibeti kidhuku. What means that Musioka has gotten married na nasikia ni kama ameoa bibi mkali sana, she's a tough woman. Manza alitushika vita bana. I was with my uncle was almost 5 years older than me na sisi na kapunda ketu
You and your uncle are beaten.
manze hatukupigwa lakini nakwambia maneno tuliambiwa mpaka wa leo hey, manze mpaka that woman manze I don't know whether she's still there but hata leo nikimwona I think bado I need to heal bana. Okay. Manze you can imagine so wase walikuwa nafanyanga hivyo so you go kwa riverbed alafu nachimba so that usiku tuna maji na like by the morning hiyo maji na kwa imekuja juu you guys nini it. That's how we used to get water from the river because those times we never used to have I think wells, boreholes, but of course things have changed.
Hamkukuwa na ile equipment yenye ulikuwa unakanyaga ya chuma unakanyaga hivi unashikilia hivi
chali unajua naongea juu ya weno unajua naongea juu ya 1993 1994 1995
around that time.
Yes, unajua hizo vitu
ilikuwa
imetoka bana ama maybe si wajaluo ndo tulikuwa tu nayo.
Mlikuwa na hiyo technology?
I
used to now apply pressure alafu it removes water from the well.
But nyinyi mnatoa maji kwa well, si tunachukua maji kwa riverbed. Unaona tofauti boss?
Hata ilikuwa there was a pipe, it used to have a pipe. So ilikuwa inaenda inawekwa kwa the rivers ama lake or whichever place. Then mnakanyaga alafu mnajaza vitu to another pipe huko mbele.
Yeah.
So manzeo ni luxury. Si ulikuwa unachota kwa vibuyu upandishe kwa punda. You get it?
Yeah.
Atuchoti atupump. Sisi mnachota hiyo mnajazilia. We used to use nini? Squeeze zimeisha. What are they called? In Kikamba we call them mzele. The whatever is it the calabash? The one that is cut.
Remember?
Yeah. So you have to be very careful so that you don't disturb the water.
And then
so you pick it like this and after picking it unaeka hivi sasa inajaa kwa kibuyu so you do all that then after manzi this tulikuanga patient by the way
that's something right there.
Tulikuanga
there was
patient
patience in terms of like dealing with processes because you know the reward has to take some sort of investment before you get it. Kwenda kuchota maji and everything unajua convenience ni kitu haikuwa imekam sana at that particular time. We didn't have much convenience. Actually one interesting memories I have is my dad he had a farm next to the Masinga. We've been there with you. So you know the Ekalakala. So next to the water. And one of the things we used to be told is by no means should you be found near the water because there were crocodiles then.
They are still there.
They're still there.
Yeah.
And we used to go because like the water was literally touching our farm. Okay. So we would go there with other kids. But when you talk about patience, let me tell you how we used to wake up in the morning and when the soil was still moist because kulikuwa na dew in the soil, that's when we were taught how to dig for earthworms. So you dig the ground, you get earthworms. Eka earthworms kwa mkebe in a small container. You put the earthworms there, then you go to the now for us it wasn't a river, it was more like it is a river but it was very big. It's a dam.
It's the Masinga. It's Masinga.
Tied to Masinga.
It's tied to Masinga. So I think wanafungianga ile maji inaenda Masinga.
So it was a lot of water.
It's a lot of water.
Like it's almost like like a lake.
So watu huvuka na boats.
Na boats, yeah. So we used to get earthworms, you go there, and then now you hook them up on the hook.
Yes.
Na ukiwa na the kandoano, hata nitakufanya hivi hakuna na hii. Ulikuwa tu unafunga kamba alafu unatupa. And then that's how we used to fish. And we would stay there for hours kabla saa zingine ndio upate fish man. We would stay there for hours.
I will make you fishers of men.
The joy was now
fishers of men.
The joy was getting that fish alafu mnaenda sasa mnapika. Mnapika home and you see that process like umeamka umetafuta from the soil earthworms umeenda umefish umeget your fish alafu mnakata ndio mnatoa intestines alafu mnaenda nazo home zinaoshwa zinapaka chumvi zinaanikwa zikakauka mnapika. Yani I think we were kind of used to the process and patience.
KWS wasitushike lakini mimi nakumbuka kitambo hata tukienda kulisha because we used to have mang'ombe na whatever. Then we used to have these herdsman mwenye alikuwa employed. Alikuwa anajua kuhunt manze. So mlikuwa mnaekanga tu mtego mnatega those deers. Mnaweza itega hata for a whole week na siku moja mtakapata. Kanakuja kanaingiza kichwa. Manze those things were delicacy bana. Imagine mnaenda kila siku mkiangalia. Mwisho mtakapata. So imagine the patience that used to come with that.
Yeah.
So mnatega hizo ni they were nice.
You guys remember there was a time when there used to be the pigeons different. Kulikuwa na zingine pia zilikuwa kwa forest huko, so it used to go with beseni alafu mti unaweka hivi alafu unafunga kamba
unaweka tu mahindi, you put some grains,
unaweka ugali mpaka inaingia hapo, then mnaenda mnajificha, mnangoja zinakaja, sasa mnafanya zinakuja. So mnafanya kama birds. The moment they come, una pull tu, umeshika karibu 3. Mtu anatoka huko mbio anaenda na dive kwa hiyo beseni, analishikilia hapo hivyo. So kuna mwingine anakuja anaingisha mkono alafu anazitoa. By the time you're leaving there, umeshaanza kutoa mafeathers nini, mmezipasua katikati, mnaenda mnaakisha bonfire hapo hivyo, umeiweka hapo, salt iko hapo, alafu mnakula.
Man, I mean, man.
Those were good times.
Wow, there's some serious memories that I think we can all talk about those days. But the thing is, first of all, I know there are things that have stuck with you, but what are the things that you really treasure about those experiences?
For me, the biggest thing that I treasure about those experiences is family. I think family relationships were very authentic, right? Those days, I think I can remember when we used to gather for Christmas, and then my grandparents are there, visit my aunties, my uncles, my parents are around. There's an experience that I cannot buy at this point, no matter how much money I have. And I think with that, for me it's family. The fact that we could hang out as a family, just have authentic conversations. There's no DSTV. Nobody's in a rush to pick their calls.
Well, there was no phone.
No phone.
Yeah, no,
you understand? So you guys must have to chill, and there's no electricity. So in the evening, nimgoje KBC, msikize radio. Then you call it an evening. You know, and hakuna stima. Manze star inazima saa 3:30. For me, I think that's the greatest. I think those are the biggest memories I have. The greatest memories I have as a kid, like growing up those days. And I think Christmas was more Christmaser than it is right now, if you ask me honestly.
The feelings were
because by the way, we are 3 months, like close to about 3.5 months to Christmas.
Man, time flies.
Manzi ya 2023 na wale tulikuwa na manini za 2023. Jehovah, speed.
I'm going to get married this year.
Amen.
My goodness.
Amen.
Speak Lord. But I like that aspect when you talk about
Uluma. That's what South Africans say. Uluma Bapa. I don't know, something like that.
Problem the singlehood men of God.
Problem waiting Baba.
You know that isolation and singlehood men of God.
Papa, I'm hallucinating Baba. Hallucinating.
But as we talk about for you it's family. I don't know. For you Gobs. What stands out for you about those experiences?
I really got a good experience of natural environment. For me, that was key, because tungeenda Western na hiyo gari ya KCB. My dad used to work for KCB, so ile kitambo kama bado ile logo ya KCB unakumbuka?
Mazile ya Simba. Unajua logo ya KCB ilikuwa Simba. Ilikuwa Simba.
We used to go to Western, and then he had some friends walikuwa nampatianga mahindi. Yani unapata a better part of the boat imejazwa, mnafinyana huko mbele. But when you'd go to the shamba, unaona how things are green, leafy, yani tu peace. Kuna mamti zingine, if I try and look for them right now, I cannot get them. I can't. And those things we used to play with them, tunazipanda, kuna hii bougainvillea, some pink hapo, flowers. And then the fact that when I look back and I see how family used to sort each other out, you'd be taken to your uncle, next week mmepelekwa kwa uncle yenu, and ana take care of everyone. Amelete watoto wote, but haujui vile ana take care.
Man, credit to them for that. Credit to
those
them
guys walikuwa wamejipanga. For real. If you give somebody right now upper, it's not possible.
In this day, some people feel like it's a burden. But
it's a burden.
I remember when families used to congregate together and they would cook together, because now the ladies will begin to cook. Of course, wanaume, they would sit down and some of them would have of course their crates of beer, and they would be, but those really a social aspect, and then the willingness to invent games, because we didn't have all this technology, so we were trying to invent different games. I remember one of us used to carry unabeba golf ball, alafu mnatengeneza, because kulikuwa tu golf ball hizo days bado zile ngumu, nakumbuka hizo tu ball tule tu ngumu. Sasa mnatengeneza kulikuwa tu golf ball, unge access to golf ball. But sasa
manze, kwani wewe childhood experience
zilikuwa ama kama nikale ka
what I know mi
hata kale ka ball
kitu nilikuwa nayo kitu inaitwa umbilical is marbles, the marbles,
hata marbles. Nakumbuka bano ndio zilikuwa cracking no pay,
crackings no pay,
but unakumbuka pia sasa tunatengeneza ni kama kamti ati like a golf stick. Sasa ni mti mmetengeneza, tunatumia pia marbles ama nini, mmetengeneza tushimo to the first spot nini hivyo, alafu mnaanza compete na golf. Yani there was
manze, games zenu zilikuwa sophisticated. No, I'm just asking.
Kalongolongo hiyo nilicheza hata nilichomwa hapa hivi
mkipika.
Niko na hiyo mpaka saizi.
No manze, mnachezaje ya golf ball manze, aje
kidogo tu
hapana.
Wewe mnakumbuka
umesema nature
nature na family.
Your part ya nature, do you remember the part where you would actually know these particular plants are okay to eat, this ones are not okay to eat? There were lugwats, there were guavas, and we would actually eat natural stuff, and just straight from the farm, from the bush. We would actually partake of natural stuff from the farm, from the bush. Yani unachukua tu na mnatengeneza something out of it. Yani nakumbuka tulikuwa tuna avocado, mnakaa chini mnakata
mapera,
chumvi tu bro, na hiyo umekula ni snack.
Hey man, things have changed.
Yeah.
When you talk about nature, I think for me it's been an experience because I work in Konza, so I usually go to work daily. But one thing I've always seen, and one thing I admire, and even at times I do stop, is that you find what are they called? The giraffes. Like there's one day morning, at around 7 a.m. I found them trying to cross the road. There were about 15 of them.
Yeah.
But I could see some order. Like they're just following each other. And I wondered, where did we go wrong in terms of order?
Yeah.
Because imagine seeing like giraffes. They like there's a protocol. There's the one who's leading the pack, and there are about 15 of them. And for me, that was it reminded me of where we've come from. We used to see these wild animals randomly on the roads, but we can no longer see that. And I wonder, what will our kids and our grandkids be able to see? Will they go to zoo parks, or will we still have the parks around? And for me, it's something that makes me really wonder. And let's hope that we might think that what we have right now is not an experience, but maybe when our kids are our age, we'll have a different experience. And what we're talking about right now,
but I think they can share part of it, because I think what some of the things our parents did, which I commend them, is they tried to give us a taste of some of the experiences, you know. Like there are those things that they handed over down to us that we can always remember. Kama siku hizi eti kuchinja mbuzi lazima muende mbai nyama kwa butchery. Ama siku hizi tunabai kichinjio. Hizo ndizo hakukuwa na kubai nyama kwa kichinjio. Brother, mlikuwa mnatupa pale nyuma kwa backyard mnachinja hiyo mbuzi, kichwa pia ilikuwa mnaka, kuna mkaile drum ya kichwa ile kuchemsha kichwa, ile sufuria ya kichwa ilikuwa inaka kikubwa hivi kindo, mnaka kichwa hapo ndani, hakuna pati ya hiyo mbuzi ilikuwa inatupwa. Yani ilikuwa experience. So kuna hizo experience kama kuchinja, wali pass down hizo vitu. There are certain things that I think we can also pass down to our kids, the things that we learned. It's really good.
In fact, speaking of your kuchinja mbuzi, I remember there was a time I had cousins in my nieces in States, so they came over. Na sisi tuko tumezoea, mkiambiwa hiyo siku mnakula kuku, yani wageni wakikaa mnajua mnakula kuku, ndio unaishika unaichinja. So there's a time walikuja wakaangalia, wakaanza kusema, you murderer, where is the authority for chickens?
You don't even have a permit,
you know. And I saw them crying. Ati tunachinja.
Walikuwa wametoka wapi?
Maju. US with the YUES. US. So nilikuwa a bit traumatized.
Si tunalelewa na our instincts.
Maze. Sasa wewe uko hapo, unajua the way tulikuwa tunakata, unakanyaga hii side miguu, unakanyaga mabao huko. Unashika, unatoa hapa kwa shingo kidogo. unaichapa daga alafu ile damu unaeka kwa bakuli fulani nasikia tu you murderer. Murderer, where is the authority? Nikarudi nikaambia mama yao bwana
ukajua time is bad
yeah.
All right,
It was good
so
But I think we're also having a lot of restrictions nowadays.
Yeah.
If you want to cut a tree, you must get a permit. I think a lot is happening right now. Yeah, right. I think for me, if you ask me, I think it's
even
more of a regulation.
Some of the things that we have even spoken here
Yeah.
might not be politically
Complicit,
correct.
yeah.
You know, animal rights.
Ati unachinja kadush. Dush ni mali ya KWS, dude.
Yeah, unacheki. So, question.
Yeah.
What are some of the best takeaways that you have from those experiences?
Let me go first. Ilinifundisha independence, which you rarely get right now, because a lot of parents right now are a bit cautious with their kids and stuff. But those days, it's like ulikuwa unatumwa tu, enda ujipange, be a man, go do this and do this and do that. And then the other thing is that you grew knowing the process. Like ulikuwa unajua I have to put this work in place and then there's an outcome to this. But saizi watu wako by demand. Mtoto wako anaamka tu by demand. No. Yeah.
Okay. Taught you to be independent, huh?
Yeah, taught me thoroughly, because we used to go with mzae slaughterhouse. Mnatupa huko kwa pickup 504, mmetupwa saa 11:30 mnaingia huko, mnapigania manyama, unaambiwa enda matumbo, enda nini, mnarudi mnaziosha, mnazieka kwa fridge.
Okay.
Wow. I think when you talk about process, for me, it takes me back when I was, when I was still living in Shags. Then I could remember that Sundays afternoon were for, what is it called? You see, we used to have cows. So we used to do a lot of milking, and we used to take that milk and then it will be fermented into mala, because again, mala is a staple. But you know, there's a process to which I think you separate iyo mafuta na maziwa. My friend, ungekaa chini 2.5 hours until you're just shaking the kagad. Iyo nini inaitwa nini? Iyo what is it called?
The gourd.
The calabash.
Gourd.
It's the gourd, not
Yeah,
the
gourd.
calabash.
The gourd, sorry.
So alikuwa naeka maziwa, unapata hiyo maziwa maybe ni kama ya Wednesday ama Thursday. So sasa unajua isha ferment.
Yeah.
Unajua ndio dina, hiyo maziwa ndio dina. So lazima usipate hiyo maziwa na hiyo mafuta. Manze kutoka sijui 3 pm. Manze unakalia tu mkeka. Wewe uko tu hapa tu.
Uko discipline your time.
Manze anakuja after 1 hour, anafungua anakuambia, hii mafuta haijamaliza kushikana, endelea. Manze unaendelea tu. Alafu najua ilikuwa nafunikangwa na inaitwa maize cob.
Yeah.
So manze uko tu hapa. Manze I think for me nilikuwa I used to fear Sundays afternoon, because I could imagine the patience that it requires for me to be able to just do this for close to 2.5 hours. And I think for me it's a process.
Yeah.
And looking back I can say, at the end of the day I used to deliver, because silikuwa naona usiku tunakunywa maziwa, hiyo mafuta inatumika, unaweza kwa githeri, inatumika hata kupika. So for me, it makes me appreciate process. Even where I am right now, I'm at a point where whatever I do, I ask myself, what is the end goal? What is the reward?
Yeah.
You understand?
Okay.
And also it helps you to have some sense of excellence in what you do. Because I could have just decided I shake. Then you know what? We don't get mafuta. Then the milk doesn't separate. Then someone eats ugali and says iko na mafuta. They don't eat it. Yeah. But for me, I think being exposed to that by my grandmother, I really appreciate that. And God bless her. She's still around.
Amazing.
And she knows I love her.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think for me, taking me through that experience, it's made me a better man. Even as a responsible adult, I feel like I don't have to really rely on people much. Like, do your thing. Do your thing. You want this, then do your thing. It's not like, you know what, I want this, so do I do? Call nani. Apana. What is the process for you to be able to achieve this?
Yeah.
And I feel like today I can still, those skills, I still have them. But I don't know how I'll be able to pass the same skills even to my younger siblings. They don't have this experience.
Yeah.
But that's an experience that you can't take away from me. And I really appreciate that.
Amazing.
So for me, I think I appreciate the fact that I think the that generation tried to instill some values and also part of the experiences on us, right? But now what if you need mala, what do? M-Pesa, lipa kwa till, enda kunywa, you understand? So I don't know what happened to the process bit of things.
Easy come, easy go.
But I can tell you for sure, for me, when you talk about process and a journey, knowing very well that success is not an event. You understand?
Yeah.
Remember, this is something I kept on doing over and over again. Ilikuwa kila Sunday lazima. So part of the success ni gani? Tuli grow up vizuri. We enjoyed our childhood. I can look back and but haikuanga event atuna look forward to, atunamaliza hii kitu. Ilikuwa ka process. Manze mtu wa milk, hiyo milk iwekwe for 3 days, uletewe hiyo milk, ucheze nayo masaa 2.5, hiyo milk ikunywe. So I think for me it's more of it makes you appreciate the journey more than the event.
Interesting. Some nice nuggets, man. Nice ones. I think another thing that I value based on also the contributions that both of you have shared is it's the simple things that matter in life.
Yes.
The sharing, the aspect of family and community, the things that mattered. Those days hakukuwa na social media, so you never had a chance to really brag about
your family was your social media.
Yeah. You didn't have time to brag about your new shoes, your new look.
Yeah.
You know, all these things we keep putting lukunis, nini.
Lukumoto.
There's never those self-care moments.
Unaweka picha hapo alafu ina kampani ya Bible verse, eh? Na it makes sense, yani Bible verse na kuna song nyingine nasema Bible verse ina kampani picha ya real kina notes kama. Lakini cheki in those days hakukuwa na time ya ku show off ya nini, like if you were enjoying something you did it with the people who mattered to you.
Squeeze naonanga ile a small girl with a big God. Have you seen it?
Nakumbuka hiyo song.
Excuse me, ka caption, small girl with a big God.
And small girl with a big God.
Wow.
Toka social media baba. Utapata pressure.
So you start wondering, is now are we talking about is it that only small people are being blessed? Sisi wakubwa tutaenda wapi?
Like there's some the people who I think every detail of their life, bro, lazima ikwe post. Unashikanisha?
Exactly.
Yani ikwe post. Unajua kuna rapa fulani huko Stito alikuwa ameweka picha yake akihesabu mado. Alikuwa itoa sijui Pop Smoke. Wase wakacheki huyu msee alafu akaput location yenye anastay. Wase walienda wakamada.
Wacha.
Wakamuibia so
but there's something
sad, yeah. So squeezing everything we have to put out. But but what I was saying is at least those small things that matter, we value the lessons, we value the things that matter. Was the people who you were and you shared moments with them, and those are the things that matter the most. So I think that's also a lesson that we really picked from that time, which we can employ in this particular time to also realize, man, sometimes you can be flaunting everything pale online, but truly it's the simple things that matter, the people that God has blessed you to be with and to do life with, man. That really goes a long way in terms of you cherishing those relationships and valuing those experiences. Yeah.
Just to add on that, there was a bit of discipline that was available at that time. Nakumbuka siku hizi hata by the time wana watoto wanakusalamia hivi ni hard. You know, you go back home, the way I greet my elderly uncles and nini, with a lot of respect. But unapata tu mtoto mwingine ametoka Nairobi akotua.
Niache mzae.
Of course there was respect. These days certain aspects of that respect is really lost. But those days it went a long way in terms of just preserving our customs and the respect that was there in family. Those days unge discipline na any of your aunties and any of your uncles. Hata kwa esto ungetandikwa yani. So of course those things went a long way. But anyway, it's really nice to have this conversation with you guys. I think there's so much lessons that we can draw out of that. And I think there's much more to really ruminate about when we think about the past. And I think we can do this more and more in episodes coming. But parting shots ni gani bana?
Mambo ni
matatu.
Chali unatishia maisha.
Nimetisha.
I think for me, the parting shot is just let's learn to be patient through the process.
Yeah.
Let's be patient through the process. Yeah. For me, that's my take home. Looking back at where we've come from are we patient these days? Because when I look back, I can see there are trees that we planted with my dad when I was about 6, 7. They've grown to be very huge trees. But that is now what you call a process. And I still remember that day we were planting those trees, because I think it was I, my grandfather, and my dad.
Amazing.
So those are the things that you look back and they say, what, that's a process. And I think for me, it's also built a culture for me too. I really love trees.
Okay.
And
I like that.
And I really, up to date, I try to, whenever I get a chance, I plant a tree.
Okay.
And I've seen their trees I planted about 5 years ago. And let me tell you, I look at them every morning and I really, by our office, and I really love that.
All right.
And I will still do it to date.
Okay.
Yes.
I think we should do another episode called Lessons from Our Fathers.
Yes.
Because I've had everyone touching on their dads a bit, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, thank you guys. Thank you so much for your contributions. Really sober things. And thank you guys for watching. This is Fleek on the Move podcast. And there are more wonderful episodes coming on the way. Cheers.
All right.
Shukran.
Enjoy one day at a time.
Awesome.